Okay, you've caught me laying down because I've twinged my back gardening. Tammy's been working me too hard, but there we go. Mama Bear Chihuahuas says she has a female lilac and chocolate Mural. Actually, it's not. I'll tell you what it is. It's a little E, big E, so it carries cream. It's a big B, little B, so it is a testable chocolate. Big D, little d, so it is a blue. So it's a testable chocolate that carries blue and cream. And no brindle, no pied, and 2 copies of AA. Breeding to and it's a Mural. Breeding to a blue and tan points that doesn't carry anything else but cream. What will you get? Well, you're going to get half Murals. You're going to get 1/4 creams. The Murals are going to be fawn Murals and blue Murals, and they will all carry a copy of testable chocolate. So you're going to get fawns, blues, creams, Mural versions of those. Yeah, there you go. Yote 5.0. She wants to know if the progesterone testing is true of all females and all breeds. Yes, the numbers don't change because you've got a Great Dane versus a Chihuahua. The numbers are the same. So all of this stuff is applicable to any breed. They're not specific to, for instance, what I'm into, which is French Bulldogs. Kathy Polish, what folic acid do you recommend human grade is okay? Folic acid is exactly the same thing. It's like saying, what kind of vinegar do you like? Vinegar is vinegar. There are different concentrations, and that is the only thing you have to worry about, whether it's for humans or horses or dogs, is folic acid. But what you want to watch out for is you want to get 5 milligram folic acid. Most of what you'll see will be a much smaller amount, 800 micrograms. That's 0.8 of a gram. If you're going to use 5 milligrams and you had an 800 mic version of it, you'd have to give them like 8 of those tablets every day. So you don't want to do that. You want the 5 milligram version. Somebody's talking, Staphnia's talking about pyometria. Said she lost me for a bit. Can a dog get an infection from another dog in the house, always licking the private parts? Well, any dog can get an infection, bacterial, parasite, protozoa, from any, sexually transmitted disease, whatever, from any other dog by licking it. Are you going to stop that from happening? Not unless you separate them, because they're going to lick each other. So you've got no choice on this. So look, a normal healthy dog licking another normal healthy dog, absolutely fine, no problem whatsoever at all. I mean, you may not like the process because humans don't do that, hopefully. But there's no, healthy dogs, all dogs have a certain amount of bacteria on them, just like you and I. And so licking somebody else, kissing somebody else, shaking their hands, touching your mouth and your eyes, transmits these things. Normally it's not an issue for anybody because you already have these under control because you have built up immunities. So I wouldn't get too worried about this. But if you've got a strange dog licking on your dog, that is a completely different situation. And that's something that I would not allow because you could get unwanted transmitted diseases. So your dogs you know about, they're around each other all the time, not an issue. Strange dogs in strange places, parks, vets' offices, PetSmart, those kind of places, out on leashes walking around, no, I wouldn't let it happen. Quasimoto, what temperature do you set it for? Talking about incubators on week 2. Well, there's no specific temperature that's specific to a particular time. The thing you got to watch out for on incubators, and there's lots of different versions of incubators, so this is just some general information. The incubator that we sell is not a forced air incubator. It heats the floor up. For that reason, it has to be set for a higher temperature than one that's a forced air incubator. But here's the general rule. The first thing is with our incubators, a temperature somewhere between 36 and 38 degrees centigrade is the correct temperature. But here's the thing to do. Put your puppies in there, go back and check them after 10 minutes and see if they're asleep and happy. If they're asleep and happy, you've got the temperature right. If their mouths are open, they're panting, or they're trying to climb the walls, you've got it too hot, turn it down. And if they're very sweaty, then you need to get more circulation in there, open the lid up a little bit and let some air in. So that's the rules generally. Mike Kelly, is there a formula to convert IDEX to Fine Care? How much difference is there? And then you ask another question about natural breedings and TCIs. I want to do 2 of them. Okay, so what you're asking about, so there is a difference. So IDEX machine, typically we say that ovulation's on a 5, we breed on a 15, which is typically 2 days later. We do a TCI on a 25, which is another day later than that. That is a fine care, an IDEX. On a fine care machine, generally ovulation is around a 7. The first day of breeding, you want to be around a 17, and you want to do a TCI on something around a 30. So the numbers go up more as you get further away from 0, but typically if you add, 2 points in the mid-range and 3 to 5 points in the high range, you'll be about right. Annie Boom. My Maltese girl didn't come into heat until she was 3 years old. Because of James, I never gave her any meds. Good for you. To force it. And now we are expecting her first litter at 3.5 years old. Congratulations. Very good. Good for being patient. And I'm glad that you didn't have to go through these steps of doing things that I consider to be a bit risky, like giving PG 600. Don't like those things. And Banshee Bros is thanking us because they're about to have a successful litter of puppies. Yep, good. Holy crap from FZ09 time. Fixing a dog's cherry eye. He tried to do it. It didn't work, but after a minute I pressed a little harder than I was comfortable with. Didn't want to hurt her, but it popped right back in. It hasn't popped out since. Yeah, good. So look, if you've got this cherry eye, which is basically a piece of membrane sticking out from the corner of the eye on either side, kind of a swollen piece of membrane, look at that video because you can massage and work it back in, and sometimes it will stay in place and it's fixed. Sometimes it won't, but it's free to try, and if it was you, you'd do it yourself. Yote 5.0, what's your thoughts on doing progesterone testing with blood instead of serum? So now we have 2 tests available for the fine care machine. We have the original one that you have to spin the blood, collect the serum and use that. And the new one that doesn't require any centrifuging at all, and you use the whole blood. I like that one better. It's quicker, it's faster. You save a step, you don't need a centrifuge, the results are the same. The only downside to the whole blood test is it's slightly more expensive. Where it was costing you $9 a test or $90 for 10, now it's costing you $300 for 25 tests. So it's about $12 a test. So it's a little bit more expensive, but there's certainly quicker, faster, one less step to do. I like it. Numbers are the same. We've done lots of testing on side-by-side tests, and the numbers are the same. Puppy not pooping from Ernesto Munoz asking about constipation, diarrhea. What dish soap did we use? That's Dawn dish soap, but look, dish soap is pretty much dish soap. The reason I like Dawn is you see all the adverts where they've got the little ducks that have been covered in oil and they're bathing them in that Dawn dish soap. It's very safe stuff, so that's what we use, but I mean, I don't think it really matters. Oh dear, Gary Root says, how to choose a stud. That's a video from a long time ago, says it's too long-winded. Well, I'm a long-winded person. Sorry about that. Talk to Tammy about that one. Alex Mendoza. Took my dog in for progesterone testing 4 days ago. First signs of blood, she was at a 1.73. Went back 4 days later and she was at a 4. So 1.73 after 5 days. Then 8 days later was at a 4.72. By the way, we consider 5 to be ovulation. That typically happens around day 9. So you're right on track for that so far. I consider the next day, 9 days from blood, to be 5.0, which should be her ovulation. Correct. When the following day would have been 10 days from blood, and she was at 16.54. Yeah, so the answer here is that you've got to get on top of this. So when you were at a 4.72, that's very close to ovulation. I'd expect to be breeding that dog 2 days later, which is basically where you were when she was at a 16.54. So you're saying 10 days, 16.54, most dogs get bred around day 11. You may be a day early, which is a little bit faster rising, not an issue. Breed her right then. What I would do with this dog is I would have bred her on 16.54 immediately. I'd have bred her 2 days later, redone a test, and make sure her numbers are in the 20s, and then I'd know that I was in the right place. And so, yep. It encouraged me to do more of these videos. But do remember, disclaimer here, I am not a vet.
I'm not a licensed medical professional. I'm purely a person who's been breeding dogs for the last couple of decades. Any information that you got from this video, use at your own risk. There's nothing implied here, and certainly this should not be used as a substitute for advice from your veterinarian or your medical professional. I hope you enjoyed the video. Come back for more of them.
Frisky now, come on up here, girl.